Good morning, second graders. Today we are on page 111 of your student journal, page 111, and we are on lesson 6. We are going to be continuing with our measuring. So today it's going to be really important that you have a ruler. So a ruler is the tool you're going to want to have today. So if you don't have one right now, stop the video and see if you can have someone at home help you find one. Okay, I'm going to get started. So our goal today, or our objective today, is today I will measure lengths of several objects to the nearest whole using inches, I'm sorry boys and girls, I forgot the H, inches and centimeters. Okay, and remember you always can pause the video if I'm going too fast and you need to get caught up, okay? Okay, so our vocabulary today is just reminding us what these measurements are. So inch is part of the customary measurement system, which is our US system, and it's on a ruler. We start where the dash is, and it's right here. The ruler's made up of 12 inches. Okay, and if we don't have a ruler, we could try and use our hand to help us. It says it's from the tip of the thumb to the first knuckle. So if I look at my thumb, here's my knuckle right here. Here's my knuckle, and here's the tip. So it's about that big. Okay, so we could put that there. It's the tip of the thumb to the first knuckle. Okay, our next measurement is called a centimeter. And this is part of the metric system, which the rest of the world uses. And it's also usually on our ruler, but it's the smaller side. So right here, you see we start at the line and there's 1 centimeter and the ruler has, 1 centimeter and the ruler has 30 centimeters. And again, if we don't have one, we could try and use our fingers to help us. So it's the width of the pinky. So the width means right there. Okay, now we also talk about rounding because in my goal it says I'm going to go to the nearest whole. So what that means is when I'm measuring here and it's not exactly near a number, I'm going to choose which number it's closest to. So I'm going to grab my red pen and kind of show you some of these. What if I was measuring this and it was that long? Well, it's not at 1 and it's not at 2, but let's look at which one it's closer to. Do you think it's closer to the 1 or the 2? I hope you're thinking 1, so I would have said a 1 for that. Okay, let's try another one. We'll do centimeters. Okay, let's look at that one. So it's not at the 5, it's past the 5, but it's not yet at the 6. So which one do you think it's closer to, the 5 or the 6? And hopefully you're thinking 6. So that's what we're going to do there, is we're going to just find which one it's closest to. Okay, our steps today are that we're going to make sure we're either measuring our objects, okay, and then we're going to record our measurement. So what does this actually look like, boys and girls? I'm going to put my green pen down and grab my red pen if you want to set your pencil down and watch me. It says, number 1, measure the pencils to the nearest hole using centimeters and inches. Record your measurement. So I have 4 pencils, and for each one they want an answer in centimeters, and then they also want an answer in inches. Okay, so I could do my centimeters first maybe. Now the trick is when I measure, again, if you see, I can't start at the ruler, I have to start at that black first line. So I'm going to line that up carefully, very carefully with the tip, and then measure. So this one, it's past 4, but it's closer to 4 than 5, so I'm going to say it's 4 centimeters. This one, ooh, it's past the 6, but it's almost at the 7. So I'm going to say 7 centimeters. This one is past the 8, not at the 9, but it's close. So I'm going to say 9 centimeters. And this one is exactly at the 10. So we're going to say 10 centimeters. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to use my inch side of my ruler and do the same thing. So this one, make sure I line it up on the line. It's way past 1 and it's almost at 2. So I'm going to say 2 inches. This one is past the 2 and almost at the 3, so we'll say 3 inches. This one is past the 3, but it's pretty far from the 4. It's closer to the 3, so we're also going to say 3 inches. And for this one, it is almost at the 4, so we're going to say 4 inches. Okay, boys and girls, I'm going to do one more of those for you. This time it says, my directions say, measure the scissors to the nearest hole using centimeters and inches. Record your measurements. Okay, so this time I have scissors, and if you notice, they made a dotted line to help me see where I'm going to measure them. But I'm going to do exactly the same, except this time I'm going to need to hold my ruler different. So I'm going to line up my ruler. And this one, it looks like it's exactly at the 3 centimeters. Okay, let's check this one. This one I'm getting, it's a little bit past the 5 centimeters, but just barely, so we'll say 5 centimeters. This one is exactly on the 2 centimeters. And this one, I think I'm gonna have to scoot down for you, boys and girls. This one is a tall one, and it's exactly at the 10 centimeters. Okay, so then I'm going to go back and I'm going to now use my inch side, which is the larger spaces on the ruler. Okay, and let's do the same thing. Make sure I line it up on the black line. This one is past the 1, but it's closer to 1 than 2. This one is exactly at the 2. This one is not yet at 1, but it's closer to 1 than having nothing, so we'll say 1. And this one, let me scoot down again for you, boys and girls. This one is exactly at a 4. Okay, so boys and girls, I'm hoping you were able to find some ruler. If not, you could try to use your thumb and pinky. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging. Okay, let's get started. We're on page 112. I'm putting down my red and picking up my green, which means I want you to join me. This says we're going to measure the paintbrushes to the nearest hole using centimeters and inches. Record your measurements. Okay, so just like I did, I think it's easier if we stick with one side first. So let's stick with the centimeter side. And then remember what I kept saying. It's really important we start right there in the black line, not where the ruler starts. Okay, so we're going to get it set up and lined up. And when I line it up right there, this one's a really tricky one, boys and girls. Look at our first one's a tricky one. The reason it's tricky is because it looks to me like it's just exactly in between 2 and 3. It's not closer to 2 or closer to 3. It's exactly in between. Usually when something's right in the middle, we round up. So for this one, because it's perfectly between 2 and 3, I would say 3. Okay, let's try the next one. Okay, let's set yours up and hopefully yours matches mine. I think this one is exactly 4. I'm hoping you agree with me. Okay, set your next one up. On this one, I'm hoping you agree with me that it looks like it's pretty much exactly, not pretty much, but exactly 10 as well. So these ones were exact. And let's check our very last one. This one's a little tricky again. But if I look at this one really, really closely and I make sure it's lined up perfectly, this one looks like it's a little bit closer to the 8 than to the 7. So we would say 8. Okay, so boys and girls, now what we're going to do is flip our ruler to our inch side because we're going to measure inches now. And again, we're going to make sure we're not using the side, but we're using the black line. So let's go back. Ooh, this one looks like it's almost 1 inch. So we'll put a 1. This one looks like it's more than 1. Not 2, but it's closer to 2. This one looks like it's almost 4. It's just a tiny bit away from the 4. And this one looks like it's exactly at the 3. Okay, boys and girls, I hope I didn't go too fast for you on that one. We're going to turn our page and we're going to do one more page together. We're going to do page 113. Okay, our directions say, measure the paintbrushes to the nearest hole using centimeters and inches and record our measurements. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing, boys and girls. And this time we're just going to have to hold our ruler a different way. We're going to have our ruler vertical instead of horizontal. But again, because the first thing they ask for is centimeters, I think we should start on centimeters. Make sure you're starting on the side that says 1 and make sure you're starting on the line. Okay, so I'm going to start here on the bottom and I'm going to line it up the best I can. And I think, based on mine, I think that paintbrush is 6 centimeters. Okay, let's move it over to the next one. And this next one, I think is 3 centimeters. Let's move it over to our next one. Our next one, I think, is 2 centimeters. Okay, our next one, I think, is 5 centimeters. Okay, this one's a little tricky because it's, let's see, let's get it lined up really good. I think it's past 7, but I think it's closer to 8. I don't know if you see that on your ruler, but I think it's closer to 8 centimeters. Okay, let's check this last one. I might have to move my book. It's a little hard how it is. Okay, here's another tricky one. I think it looks like it's just between 9 and 10. It's exactly in the middle of 9 and 10. So when something's exactly in the middle, then we do something called rounding up. So we're gonna go to the 10. We're gonna go up. We're gonna go to the larger number. So let's go to the 10. Okay, so boys and girls, now that we did our centimeters, we're gonna turn our ruler over and we're gonna make sure that we're going to be starting at the line and starting where the 1 is. So this is where we're going to start and we're going to go back and remeasure. Okay, so let's line this one up. Ooh, we're getting a tricky one right away. I think that this one is between 2 and 3, but I wouldn't quite round up on this one because I actually think it's not right in the middle. I think it's a little bit closer to the 2 than to the 3. So I would call that one 2 inches. Okay, this one, let's line up. This one's more than 1, but it's definitely closer to 1 than 2. So let's call that 1 inch. Okay, this one, it's not 1 yet, but it's closer to 1 than to the 0. So I would also call that 1 inch. Okay, let's line this one up. This one looks like it's exactly at the 2. So that one we could easily say is a 2. Okay, let's go to this side. This one looks like it's just a tiny bit away from the 3, but it's almost 3. And then let's check this long one again. I might need to move my book. Okay, this one looks like it's more than 3. It's not 4, but it's definitely closer to the 4. So I would say 4. Okay, So boys and girls, I hope you feel good with that. You're going to turn your page and you're going to work on page 114. And then you're going to turn your page and do 115. And you're going to do 116. You're also going to do page 117. So you have a lot of practicing to do today. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.